Enzo Lefort is his opponent, higher ranked. On paper, potentially the favourite here. But they don't fence on paper. So here we go, the second men's foil semi-final. Dmitry Zerebchenko of Russia on the left versus Enzo Lefort of France on the right. Lawrence Halstead, what are your thoughts as we get into the early stages of this semi-final?
Yeah, looking at these two, they both have a lot of experience at this very top level. And I wouldn't call either of them a favourite, to be honest. I think they're also excellently matched. But in Zerebchenko's last round match against Cassara, where he was not the favourite, he ended up running away with the match. So even though I wouldn't like to call it between them, who knows how this match is going to go.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Enzo Lefort's route here has perhaps been a little easier. Sometimes that means that you benefit from not using up your energy reserves, but Dmitry Zerebchenko has taken out the world number 5 Chung of Hong Kong, and as you said, the world number 3 Andrea Cassara of Italy en route, and that's going to give him some confidence.
Of course, Lefort had a very difficult fight against a certain Danish fencer earlier.
Yeah, of course he did, yes.
He was really pushed to his limit there, so not that easy a day.
Lawrence, of course, the head of the performance program in Denmark, and actually Thomas Berg did give him a big challenge early on.
He really did, yeah.
But that retirement of Choi in the quarterfinals meant he went through having fenced about 1 minute and 10 seconds.
But Andrea Cassara didn't give Zerebchenko too much more work than Choi did to Lefort.
Yeah, that was a bit of a one-way 15-6, I think it was in the end. 15-7.
This is going to be a match with a lot of energy. Lefort fences with so much movement, so much dynamism, and Zerebchenko is up to that challenge, I think.
Well, to be fair, the last semi-final was also pretty full of energy and full of movement. And Mamedov there, the Russian coach, looking on. Nothing in it, as we just have had under a minute here in the first period of 3. And just a reminder that foil is the lightest of the 3 fencing weapons. The target area is just the torso. And in order to score a hit, you either have to have the right of way, i.e. have the attack, or you have to hit your opponent and make sure they don't hit you. It's the only weapon where you can hit off target. If you have the right of way, no hit will be scored, and the match has restarted from that position, as we saw some hand signals from Émeric Clot, the French coach for Enzo Lefort.
Lefort pushing Zerebchenko right to the end of the piece, but not finishing. Still just waiting for an action from Zerebchenko, which he could then deal with. A nice late power riposte. That's what he was going for.
Attack from Lefort from the right, going around the arm of the left-handed Russian. And he's just bought himself a little bit of space on that side of the piece as well. Sometimes when you see left-handers going up against right-handers, they really cling to the sword arm side of the piece to negate that angle going in around the sword arm. It, of course, negates it for both of them. trying for a parry riposte there, the Frenchman. Finally, it's a beat attack given by the Italian referee, Isacco Scomparin. Well, Lefort, he's definitely trying for the beat here. And now it looks like there's a card coming out.
I realised when they all came out for the presentation that I sit in a particular demographic. I fenced all of these fences, these 4 fences, and 2 of the referees.
That's pretty unique.
Yeah. That time Zarubchenko had control of the distance, and Lefort tried to push his finish through, unlike the time before where he forced an action, forced a reaction from Zarubchenko. And
Zarubchenko very high with the hand as he approaches. It seems clear to me that Lefort is trying to finish his attacks, but starts them with a beat. He's trying to establish that right of way.
Some fencers just like to kind of play with the blade, even if it doesn't get them the right of way, not necessarily, just to kind of have a feeling for their opponent. So the more you kind of have the blade, you take it every so often, you kind of feel the distance somewhat, and you feel like you have a bit more control over your opponent.
You're also perhaps looking to see what reaction you get from the opponent, whether it's going to be what kind of parry it's going to be. Missed the blade that time, but still had the right of way.
It's amazing how every single small kind of micro action you make has an impact in your opponent's brain. So every beat does have, oh, he's pushed through a long classic Enzo Lefort attack there.
And finishing nicely on the shoulder as well.
So every beat, every slight twitch of your hand, it's sending a signal to your opponent. And the aim of this game is to send the signals that you want them to get, and kind of outwit them with the second thing in mind, with the second intention in mind.
At this level, though, is everything second intention?
No, not necessarily everything. Enzo Lefort forced through a first intention attack there. If you're just thinking about hitting with your one burst of activity, that would be a first intention action. And there are plenty of those to be had as well. But you don't get to this stage without having a well-honed second intention style of fencing as well.
So in effect, if you're not completely au fait with the terminology, you're setting a little trap to create an opportunity that is a trick for your opponent, to draw your opponent, for example, into attacking you, because actually what you want to do, your real intention, is to find a parry riposte, as an example.
Exactly, that would be a good example. Enzo Lefort just has the kind of edge in some of these crunch actions, and that's why he's taken a 7-4 lead.
Well, he set that one up, really, didn't he? He said that he said to Zarubchenko, "Come on, then attack me." Zarubchenko was halted in his attack by what was effectively a counter-attack. I
think it might even have been simultaneous, but Enzo was just more committed. And Zarubchenko was not.
Oh, that's a lovely stop hit, though.
Zarubchenko committed to that action, but probably starting from too long a distance.
Watch this hit here. So you're counter-attacking. You don't have the right of way. You launch out the hit, and you've got to make sure you don't get hit yourself, because if you get hit, it's their attack. It's their right of way. But how good does that make you feel when you land those hits?
Pretty good, but Zarubchenko was millimeters from actually landing his attack, so I don't think Lefort would have felt too confident about that one. Almost, he got away with it.
Well, it's given him a 4-point lead. It was actually a 5-point lead, but Zarubchenko struck back immediately. And it
started that attack and finished it fluidly enough, in my opinion. And the referees thought Zarubchenko wanted to ask the referee to see the video, but he's accepted the decision.
You can start slowly, can't you, in foil fencing? as long as your hand continues and finishes in a straight line and hits your opponent, you have the right of way, and your opponent's job is to either defend with the blade or run away and make you miss. And that's a parry riposte. So everything coming out from Enzo Lefort. The counter-attack, followed by the stop hit, then followed by an attack. I mean, this is really great stuff. Yeah. Parry riposte as well to complete the 4 major moves.
That's what will make a fencer truly confident in a match, when they're getting hits with a full range of actions. They feel like they've always have something else to go to. If one thing doesn't work suddenly, they can still get hits from the others. Shevchenko has questioned the referee's decision here. And
Your feeling?
I can't see that he's going to be successful. It looked like a strong enough parry riposte from Lefort. And
surely Shevchenko must be thinking that himself. I'm sure the Russian coach is going to be pretty convinced as well that that's Lefort's. Maybe this is just a bit about buying some time and halting the hit run that Lefort's on. Here comes Skomparin, the referee.
Yeah, it was a good parry riposte. Now, this is beginning to look like Lefort's fight. He really is controlling all areas at the moment.
Starting slowly again, drawing the counter-attack from Zerebchenko. Lefort goes 7 points up. That's twice now in 5 hits, and the Russian coach is, well, clearly providing some instruction, let's say, to Zerebchenko. Zerebchenko now going back to beating the blade.
You can see Lefort feels his opponent at the moment. He's taking the blade nicely. His attacks are flowing. Hits are coming from everywhere. Zerebchenko really needs to change this fight dramatically, change the style of it.
Well, there's bags of time. It's just the end of the first period here. But what a start from Enzo Lefort. He went on a bit of a hit run in the last 40 seconds. He's gone 11-4 up against Dmitry Zerebchenko and the Frenchman in the box seat. Emeric Clot there, Lawrence, talking with Enzo Lefort. What can he say? Keep doing the same thing, please?
Basically, keep doing the same thing. Hold your discipline. You don't need to stress. Those kind of things, and he will come through. On the other side, a lot to say. Change up, change your rhythm. Maybe just put some more pressure on Lefort without trying to finish. He really just has to find something now to push this fight into a different dynamic, because nothing's really working for him at the moment.
What about beating the blade? I mean, Enzo Lefort's been playing with the blade, knocking it around. What about, because I think if he gives him any ground, Enzo Lefort's just going to chase him down and go and hit him.
Yeah.
So he's got to come after him. But every time he steps forward, Lefort seems to have the right of way. So what about taking the blade?
Taking the blade, yeah, that's an option to try and disturb your opponent. Just beating the blade for its own sake.
So they're ready for the second period here in the second men's foil semi-final. This to see who faces Marcus Mepstead of Great Britain in the gold medal match at the 2019 World Championships. Dmitry Zerebchenko of Russia on the left is 11-4 down against Enzo Lefort, and I think you can safely say that was his attack, Lefort's, and he's gone 12-4 up. What a start, Lawrence.
Yeah, this is looking like a one-way match. As I said at the beginning, I wouldn't have been able to call it, but it looks like it's going to be just one-sided. That's an attack from Zerebchenko. Finally gets on the scoreboard after a while being on the wrong end.
I don't think Zerebchenko can concede ground here. I think Lefort's going to hit too often here. The gap's too big. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, not only is Lefort's attack more powerful, but he's also getting the timing for his attacks. Zerebchenko is being drawn to attack at the wrong time, so he hasn't got the right of way either. So Lefort has the has the tactical game as well as the kind of power game going.
Well, somehow Zerebchenko blocked that one out, relying on his reactions to close the last line from Lefort. And
that would be Zerebchenko's. It started off as Lefort's attack, but Zerebchenko did enough to disturb him, and the attack wasn't fluid enough from Lefort, so he was going forward, but he had that brief pause, that hesitation, and Zerebchenko pounced on it.
Well, the referee went to have a look at the video of his own volition, and he's back. And spot on. Lawrence Halstead, Sako Skomparin calls it for Zerebchenko, but he's still down by 6 here with the target score of 15. And now the target score is just like 1 point closer.
Again, Zerebchenko gets drawn into attacking at a time where even if he gets the hit, even if he hits on target, he's not going to be awarded the hit because Lefort has the timing. So he's struggling here, Zerebchenko.
We'll get a good replay there, but the fencers are ready on the line. Lefort just 2 away from going into the gold medal match.
And he's over the back line anyway.
Oh, he's just stepped over it, did he?
Yeah.
And the point given there, just losing his head there. Not really a surprise with the pressure he's under. No point given so far, but there it is on the board. Lefort 1 away.
This is an extremely impressive performance from Enzo Lefort, and I think Marcus Mepsted, who he was likely going to, well, he will meet if he wins this, has his work cut out. Lefort has been totally dominant against a world-class opponent, and he doesn't look like he's tiring in the slightest.
Well, Zerebchenko asking now for a video review.
Looking back at the replay, it's millimeters if he did go over the line.
Merrick Clough there with his stress ball. Nerves asunder.
I can't see this making a difference even if it goes Zerebchenko's way, but it doesn't.
And that's video review burned, and a big conversation going on between the assistant referee and Mamedov. Zerebchenko fighting his way through here. He gets another one in close quarters. He's got to scrap, he's got to fight, and we know the Russian foilist can do that. But this is a big mountain to climb. It's a defeat for Zerebchenko. It was fairly one way. Enzo Lefort had the measure of the Russian. He was fencing in brilliant form, a great variety of movement and a great variety of actions from the world number 10, the 27-year-old Enzo Lefort, and he is into the gold medal match. He wins semi-final number 2. An athlete from just over the English Channel, La Manche, the Frenchman, Enzo Lefort. 27 years old, he is the world number 10. He's been on a world championship podium piece before. In 2014, he lost in the semi-finals, collecting the bronze in Kazan in Russia. He's back again. It's time for the gold medal match in the Fencing World Championships individual men's foil event, and great respect shown between the two athletes. It certainly is a kind of magic. The world number 10 from France takes on the world number 50 from Great Britain. Lefort against Mepsted for gold in Budapest. Merrick Clough down with Enzo Lefort in the box. Head of the French foil program now, based out of INSEP. There is Lefort getting ready, taking on a little bit of water. Marcus Mepsted has recently moved to New York, based out of Brooklyn, under coach Dan Kellner, a former Olympic foil fencer himself. It's time to go for gold. And it's Florent Jorge, the referee, who is about to get this gold medal match between Lefort of France on the left and Mepstead of Great Britain on the right underway. Here we go. I'm joined by Lawrence Halstead, Performance Director of Danish Fencing. Lawrence, you are a GB Olympian on the same team as Marcus Mepstead. We need you to remain slightly impartial. Can you manage that?
I can manage that somewhat, is what I can promise. Look, Lefort is a fantastic competitor and athlete. He's looking so strong today. But I can't lie, I would like to see Marcus take this title. It will be the first time for Great Britain to win a World Championship title in decades, half a century, I think. So it would be special for Marcus and for the country as a whole. But he's up against a phenomenal fencer, and he's going to have to work for it. He's really going to have to deserve it.
Well, you want some history. Enzo Lefort, if he wins here, will be the first Frenchman to win the world title in men's foil since Philippe Omnes in 1990. That's what my stats say.
Can that be true? I would have put money on the French having plenty of individual world titles since
in men's foil.
In men's foil.
You come up with one, and I'll check it out. But what is for sure is Marcus Mepstead will be Great Britain's first world champion, I believe, in any discipline since 1959, should he win here. Alan Jay, the last British fencer to take a world title.
I think the French have won in men's foil. They've won the team event in the World Championship so many times that I might be getting confused that they've won the individual event as well.
Well, change of weapon for the British fencer.
What you see on display here is two fencers with fantastic physical ability, both two of the best footworks. Their footwork is up there with the very best in the world. They both have these great deep on-guard positions, and it means they move with such fluidity and such balance. Marcus getting the hit, and Lefort has asked the referee if he ducked his head too much, but the referee says no, it was a fine hit. Gives it to Marcus, he's off. He's on the scoreboard.
Yeah, we've already had a minute and a bit of this fight. Now, a meeting with the blade.
Marcus, a counter-attack from Lefort. Unsuccessful because Marcus landed his point. Had the right of way from attacking. 2-2.
Lefort on the attack again. Attack versus defense. At the moment, attack is just edging it.
Marcus will be able to win this fight if he can keep Lefort's attacks to a minimal. He will always get hits with his attacks, Lefort. He is so good with attacking, he will get hits. But if Marcus can limit them, then he buys himself a chance to win this World Championship final. He's been using line in defense successfully, Marcus, so keeping a straight arm. The attacker needs to then beat his blade to take the right of way. It has been effective. There it goes again. He puts his line out.
Blade met. This is given as attack for Lefort, and it looks like Dan Kellner's giving the instruction to Marcus Mepstead to challenge this, and he does indeed ask Florin Jorge the referee to go and have a look at the video. These two have faced each other 7 times in the past. Lefort has the head-to-head 5-2 in his favour. There was also an unofficial match between these two for a television advert for a famous manufacturer. Let's just say they're based in London. I don't want to cross any advertising boundaries here. And I believe the advert suggests that Mepsted won that fight. So 5-3 perhaps, if you include that match.
We can include that match.
At the moment, though, Lefort winning on the attack.
Oh, no. Looks like Marcus's blade, Marcus's weapon's not working, but
he tested it
himself, which you're not allowed to do. If you want the referee to annul a hit because your weapon's not working, you have to give it directly to the referee.
And why is that?
Well, I assume it's just to prove that you haven't fiddled with anything.
Well, in case it breaks when you test it yourself.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the sort of...
That it was working until you were the last straw. But that's unlucky for Marcus because his blade wasn't working. And he finds himself 6-2 down at the beginning of this match. But Marcus has, throughout the day, he's started some matches down and has always come back, has figured out his opponent and has fought his way back. One particular match against Alexander Chupanich where he only took the lead very late in the match and ended up winning. So this is by no means, I don't think he'll be feeling out of his comfort zone at all yet, Marcus.
No, and you're right, that match against Shoot was a pretty amazing one. And those two have trained together quite often as well. Chupanich comes to London quite a lot, but since Mepsted moved over to the States, perhaps they haven't trained quite as much, so didn't know each other quite as well as perhaps they might have done in the past. Well, there's a big technical change over here. How much do you think fitness is going to play a part in this final? And I don't want to put you on the spot. Obviously, you're a former British Olympian who's fenced with Marcus here. But Lefort did look very strong, and he has had one DNF in the route here. He perhaps hasn't exerted as much energy as Mepsted has.
Yeah, if you get a fight where somebody has to pull out, then that's a lot of saved energy, and Marcus has really, he fights his way. I mean, he puts his heart and soul into every match. So at this stage of the day, fitness, you only get here by being super fit, and you're definitely not as fresh as in the first few matches. But these guys both look like they have the energy.
Well, we're here in the gold medal match of the men's foil match in the 2019 Fencing World Championships in Budapest. Enzo Lefort, much more attacking fencer, is 6-2 up with just under a minute to go in the first of potentially 3 periods. Mepsted, of course, would have had to go through the qualifying day. How much of that saps your energy?
It is a long and difficult day, except this time there were 2 days break in between the first round, the first day, and this finals day. So that's plenty of time to recover. And in fact, if you ask any of these guys' competitors or anyone on the men's foil circuit who the fittest fencers are, these two guys would be up amongst them. Perhaps not a coincidence then that they're the last two standing. They really are both top shape men's foilists.
Well, it's a busy week for Enzo Lefort. His partner is due to give birth, and not only was he hoping to get through the round of 64, let alone make it through to the final, he's hoping that his baby is late in delivery so that he can get there in time. I wonder if he's going to have an effect on the team event for the French team, because that baby is due this week.
Wow.
And Merrick Clote is in the box down the other end of the piece as we getting the body wire. You see, that's the body wire that comes out from under the jacket of Marcus Mepsted being just tightened up and clip back in. And the armourer just trying to get that round the right way. But Americlo is pacing up and down, and he's got this sort of spiky stress ball in his hand. He's full of nervous energy. Is he going to oversee the first French world champion in men's foil since Omnes in 1990? And that was on home soil in Lyon. The only reason I know that is because the French boycotted the Senior World Championships that year and held their own Coupe du Monde. And that was Omnes that won that one in Lyon. I was competing in the junior event there.
Oh, wow.
Long time back now.
Shows how old you are.
Oh, yeah. Well, the fact that you were my last domestic fight, Lawrence, does put a little bit of an age marker on you as well.
So it's about now that Marcus really needs to have found some of Lefort's rhythm and get a couple of hits back. He doesn't want to go any further back behind than he is now. Lefort being fairly restrained for himself. Often you see him coming out flying, but because it's the biggest stage, he clearly respects his opponent, and he doesn't want to take any risks.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that is a measure of just how well Marcus Mepstead is fencing today, that Lefort has not sprung out of the blocks quite as fast as he might have done, and now he's employing some defensive tactics. He gets a stop hit in there. These two are extremely good friends, and you perhaps would have seen evidence of that right at the beginning of the match where they high-fived each other, and I'm sure that there was a respectful good luck mate sort of gesture between the two, but as soon as they put their masks on, of course, they've got to put that all to one side. It's the gold medal match in the men's foil competition here, and it's the attacking fencer Enzo Lefort from France who is leading 7-2 against Marcus Mepstead. Dan Kellner down at the end of the piece with Marcus Mepstead there. Lawrence, what do you think he's going to be saying?
Yeah, I think Marcus has been fencing well. He's just missed out on some of the margins, and Lefort is, yeah, he's just getting advantage of the distance. Marcus needs to draw him out a bit more and play a bit more second intention. Lefort is so good at this kind of power game that you need to outthink him a little bit more. You need to be one step ahead, and that's where Marcus can make the next step. I think is you have to risk something always. You have to second guess your opponent, and you can get that wrong. So that's what Marcus needs to do now. He needs to draw out Lefort, predict where he's going to be going, and then have an action ready for it.
So we begin the second period of the men's foil gold medal match at the 2019 Fencing World Championships. Enzo Lefort of France on the left leads Marcus Mepstead of Great Britain 8-2 now, getting off the mark early doors with a really classic feint disengaged step lunge attack.
It's a lovely long attack from Enzo Lefort, and he is going to start to feel comfortable now, which is not what Marcus wants. Don't want Enzo Lefort getting confident against you, and he's showing it by pushing his attack. Comes charging forward that time because he's feeling more confident. Now he feels he can throw in a fast attack.
Would you call that broken time, that last attack? Finds the beat, brings it back and comes around the parry?
Exactly right, Ken. That was a broken time attack.
He's seeing that much more. That's nice from Mepstead, though, as he gets a parry riposte. You're seeing much more broken time attack. When I was fencing, I know you remember some of that, you crossed over in probably your teens, that broken time attack was a real favoured hit. It kind of disappeared for a while. It seems to be creeping back in more and more.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. There's certainly some fencers who use it as a signature move, this kind of broken time flesh. Enzo Lefort takes the blade and finishes his attack fluidly there. Marcus needs to find some inspiration here, otherwise this match is going to be over soon. Lefort,
another one.
This is his signature move, a long running broken arm attack. It's so difficult to defend against.
Yeah, and the trick of it is that you've got your opponent going backwards before you start to pull your arm back, and they're going, oh, and then before you know it, Lefort's on top of you.
Yeah. And it's so long, it's so difficult to get out of the way, and if you stop, then he's already ready for it. So
a commanding lead then for Enzo Lefort. The Frenchman is 11-3 up against Marcus Mepstead as the pair fight off for gold in the men's foil here at the 2019 World Championships.
A series of counter parry ripostes ends with just a single off-target light from Lefort. Marcus needs to win those hits if he's going to claw this back.
Well, trying the counter again, we're going to get to a stage where Lefort's going to say, well, if all you're going to do is counter-attack me, I'm just going to stop attacking you. I'm 11-3 up. I don't need to take any risks anymore.
I think this is a big enough lead that he can keep pushing. You don't really want to give too much space to your opponent if you're leading like that.
That's a nice beat attack, though, on the fleisch from Marcus Mepstead. And Dan Kellner there, his coach from Brooklyn, New York, applauding him for changing things up and going out on the attack.
I think we'll see Lefort continuing to pressure because he's so good at it. He can afford to miss a few, and even getting one in every 2 or 3 is enough to finish this match.
Oh, chance for Mepstead there.
Hit.
And
these marginal hits, they're also going to Lefort.
Well, Mepstead calling for a video review there, perhaps suggesting there was covering here. For me, it looks like the arm stays well back for Lefort until the very, very last minute. Now, you have to just get your arm out of the way if you turn your back shoulder in front of your front shoulder. But I think it was fair enough, and so does Jorge.
Parry from Lefort.
And it's now just 2 away from a world title. He got the bronze medal in 2014 in Kazan, Enzo Lefort. He's definitely one better, but it looks like it's going to be 2, and the world title, the first for a Frenchman since 1990. And Philippe Omnes, Emeric Clot turning around, punching the air. It's not done yet.
They know this is an unassailable mountain now, and he's fencing so well. And, he can't finish it with his signature.
Counter-attack from Mepstead, just going down on his haunches a little bit here. Mepstead on the attack. Lefort easily evades it.
It's a parry riposte from Marcus, so he's not giving it. He's not giving it over easy.
He's fighting his way through. He's digging deep here. The British athlete. Richard Cruz got the silver last year, and it's a parry riposte. And Enzo Lefort is the world champion of 2019. He picked up a bronze in 2014, but the last Frenchman to claim the world title in men's foil was Philippe Omnes in 1990. Cue the supporters. Well, the French teammates riding high on the wave as they throw Enzo Lefort into the air. His teammates, Julien Martin, the women's sabre team, the reigning team world champions, Erwan Lepechu, all in the mix as Dan Kellner goes over to celebrate or support and congratulate the gold medal match winner, Enzo Lefort, getting a hug from coach Emeric Clot.
Sorry. Merci maître. Merci beaucoup maître. Merci. Merci, désolé, j'ai dû te faire de l'ombre.
Non, mais t'as chaud de comprendre.
Merci Paulette, merci. J'ai fait la réflexion à mes copains et à mes coachs. Je suis sorti de mon match de tableau 64. J'ai l'impression de sortir d'une séance d'entraînement à l'INSEP. Tellement la pression, la tension qu'il y a, ça impacte le corps de telle sorte qu'on en sort rincé. Donc j'ai eu 3 heures pour en remettre. J'ai fait une petite sieste et en fait, match après match, je me suis délié. J'ai retrouvé mon escrime un peu moins dans le dur et un peu plus naturel et avec le résultat d'apothéose qu'on connaît. Ça fait 5 ans que je l'attends, depuis cette médaille de bronze où j'avais fait une très très bonne saison, je suis numéro 2 mondial, médaille de bronze individuelle et puis après c'est un peu redescendu, toute cette euphorie un peu redescendue. Du coup ça fait 5 ans que, je vais pas dire que je me cherche, entre temps on a eu une belle médaille, olympique par équipe, on a eu des médailles sur les championnats d'Europe, des titres sur les championnats d'Europe, des médailles sur les championnats du monde. Donc non, c'est vraiment un gros titre individuel qui me manquait, il est là. C'est pas la médaille d'un seul homme, c'est une médaille qui a été aidé par 10 000 personnes. Il y a tout le staff technique, le maître Clos, le maître Plumenaille, le maître Robin, le maître Véron. Il y a la préparatrice mentale, Elle qui est ici, le préparateur physique, Robin, qui est ici aussi, qui nous suit depuis ce début de saison. Je vois aussi Armel à l'INSEP qui m'aide aussi physiquement. Et après, il y a tous les copains, tout le groupe, tous les 12 de l'INSEP, même les partenaires d'entraînement qui sont là tous les jours et qui sont restés jusqu'à la mi-juillet à l'INSEP pour nous préparer. Donc cette médaille aussi, c'est la leur. Sans compter le staff kiné que j'ai sollicité à maintes reprises. Au stage de préparation, au stage terminal, j'ai pas pu faire d'escrime parce que j'avais une petite blessure à l'adducteur. C'était frustrant pour moi, je voyais mes copains s'entraîner, moi j'étais là, je pouvais rien faire et à base de 2 séances de kiné par jour, ils ont pu me retaper et juste à temps pour décrocher ce titre. Donc c'est pas médaille d'une seule personne, c'est tout un collectif France. Je mentionne le DTN, le directeur des équipes de France, la présidente, enfin toutes les personnes qui font en sorte de nous rendre la vie plus simple et qu'on puisse se focaliser que sur la performance. Grâce à l'armée de champions, le ministère de la Défense, je peux être dédié à 100% à l'escrime. Donc il me verse un petit salaire qui me permet de vivre. Donc ça c'est très important pour moi. Et du coup ça amène de la sérénité, hein. Comme tu dis, ça amène de la sérénité. Et oui, le fait d'être papa, j'imagine que je n'ai pas d'autre choix que de me responsabiliser maintenant. C'est prévu pour le 17 août. Donc là ma copine est dans son dernier mois. J'espère juste, c'est une petite fille. J'espère juste qu'elle va m'attendre avant de sortir. Ouais, le par équipe super important dans l'optique d'une qualif olympique. Demain, je vais prendre le temps de bien me reposer, de faire en sorte de revenir à bloc physiquement pour pouvoir aider mes copains à faire la même chose par équipe. J'ai déjà vécu ça par équipe, c'est merveilleux, j'ai envie de repartager ça avec eux. Donc je vais faire en sorte de me retaper très vite et on repart en conquête dans 2 jours. Champion mon frère.